Right. Good afternoon, good day, good morning. Welcome to the KB and Dom Talk Show. Today,
Everyone.
everyone. So we've got very busy schedules, but we had to take the time out to share this information. Dom, what are we talking about today, man?
Compound interest.
Oi.
Compound interest. It's one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, no, it's a good topic. It's a good topic. Let me get my head right. Compound interest. Well, what I do know is there's two types of interest. So you've got your simple interest, which is what most people are accustomed to. This is something where you just literally, you put money in the bank, you deposit into the bank or any type of savings, and you basically just get the same interest that you would get on the amount that you put in, your principal deposit, as they call it. Whereas compound interest, you're actually getting interest on interest. And I'm imagining that's why you love it, Dom, because what you're actually getting is more incremental interest on the actual principal amount that you put in.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is, and just for anyone who's listening to this, is like, how would you feel if your money is growing without you doing much? How would you feel? So your money in a bank account, we know, earns little to nothing if you just keep it in a standard savings account. You're earning like pretty much 0.0825%, right, in a standard bank account.
Yeah.
Now, if your money is compounding and it's working for you, then you become now an investor. So it's all about that mindset shift. So I think for me, it's about the positive compound interest as opposed to negative compound interest, which, let's say, for example, you're having a credit card with a balance that needs to be paid and it rolls over every month, then that is negative because it is costing you more and it's taking you longer to pay off that debt.
That's right.
Now, compound interest, on the other hand, it works more in your favor because if it's positive, then what it means is that you're earning more and your money is growing. So for me, why I love it is because, I mean, who doesn't want their money to grow?
Exactly.
Like, everyone wants to make more money. Humans are driven by fear of greed. So fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of losing, fear of being rejected. And we're driven by greed of wanting more, having something new, and making smart and wise decisions. So compound interest, in my opinion, is amazing. And I mean, without spending too much time like away from what you're about to say, I mean, I hope you won't say this. I have to put it out there. Albert Einstein says it's the eighth wonder of the world. And once you understand how powerful it is, you're honestly. So take time to really understand it. I'm not here to preach. I'm here to kind of explain to everyone like I love it because it's just amazing and I've been doing it for a long time. And I'm gonna reveal today. Make sure you listen on some of the tricks that I do to compound my money and what I do in the background for my benefit in terms of compound interest.
Yeah, the eighth wonder of the world. That says it all. I mean, look, if you look at it like this, listeners, if you have £10,000 and you have a 5% interest on the £10,000, that means in your year one, you're going to get £500. So after year one, you would have £10,500. Now, on the second year, you're going to get 5% interest on the 10,500. So we're now going to get £525 added on to the 10,500 in year two. Now, if this was a basic simple interest account, you would just continually get £500 because the interest is based on the principal deposit, which is 10 grand. So no matter how long you save for, the most you would get per year is £500. Compound interest in year one, you've gone from just the 10,500, which is normal because it's starting with the 10K. For year two, you're then getting 525. Basically, by year three, you would have earned £76 more using a compound interest platform as opposed to simple interest. Now, here's the key thing about compound interest. It's a waiting game. A lot of people,
It's boring.
It's not exciting. Look, Dom and I, we both drive nice cars, right? Dom, what's your car model?
So Mercedes-Benz E-Class.
Boy, look at that. Yes. And I've got a BMW 4 Series. So that's a flashy car. Now, what a lot of people are caught up in doing is they want the flashy car. They don't think about saving of the money, you know. And if you don't actually put the money down to save, or you're saving it and after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you take the money out and use it, you will actually miss out on the benefits that are far greater than any Benz or BMW. Now, what I would suggest is if you really want to actually make the benefit or receive the benefits of compound interest, you're looking at about, I would say, 15 to 20 years. I would say compound interest is a great angle for maybe your retirement plan, or you're trying to save money for your kids to go schooling. You know, it's a great way to accumulate a vast amount of money, but it's not immediate. Not immediate. Now, in terms of actually calculating how long is your compound interest going to take? Now, there's a ruling, there's a formula, basic formula, which is called the rule of 72. Now, the rule of 72 is basically a way to calculate how long will it take me to double my money. So by simply dividing, by saying, say, 72 divided by the interest amount on your compound interest would let you know. So simple example is this. I know I have, say, 12% compound interest. So, you know, if I put away £10,000, I'm going to get 12% on that. That's £1,200. And then that's going to use the same principle as I explained earlier, in just incrementally going up in a beautiful way that Dom likes. Now, how long is 12% compound interest going to take me to double my money? So how long will £10,000 take to become £20,000 if I have a 12% interest? Easy way, 72 divided by 12. Simple answer, 6. So I know that if I have £10,000 and I've got a 10%, I've got a 12% compound interest value, I know it's going to take me 6 years to double my money. I'm going to go from 10,000 to 20,000, which is better than any principal or any simple interest account that you can get. And I think this is what makes it amazing. But just remember that with compound interest, it is not a quick fix.
I think what we should do as well is like leave a link on a compound interest calculator, which I'll do. Like, I mean, what I'll do, everyone, for anyone who's watching this, like, make sure you click subscribe, by the way. This is on YouTube. If you're watching on Instagram Live, whatever, drop a comment, whatever. But what I will do is I will leave a note on a compound interest calculator. So there's tons of sites out there, but I'll drop the one that I've used in the past and that I recommend. And you can actually see, based on your seed capital and what you plan to save every month, how it will work in your favor in the long run. Now, there was a book that I read many years ago called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a great book. I recommend it to anyone who's serious about saving, anyone who's serious about financial literacy. Even if you don't want to be rich and you're not driven by money, but you want to have a comfortable life, which is what a lot of people say, right? I definitely recommend it. It talks about taxing yourself. This is probably a bit off topic, Kwame. It's not directly compound interest, but Richest Man in Babylon, it talks about taxing yourself 10% of your income per month. So imagine if, for example, there was a new law that, we're in England, that the Queen made, right? And they had to tax you. You would pay that tax. It would come out of your salary and you wouldn't see it. So what I do is I treat my income like that. And I would recommend, if you're serious about saving, maybe for paying off a student loan, for a glorious day, for a holiday, for your family, for property, whatever you want to save for, your pension, whatever, I recommend like taxing yourself 10% of your income and paying that directly into like an investment account. And that could be something as simple as an S&P 500. And an S&P 500, for anyone who's listening to this, anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the 500 largest public trade companies in America. Right. So those companies, what happens is you can access them and you can pay money to invest in these companies, essentially. And on average, the S&P 500 returns 10% over the year. So on average. So there's some years where it performs at 6 to 8%. Some years it's 12%. Some years it's slightly more, slightly less. We plan to do a video on investing, so I'm not going to spend too much time in there on the S&P 500. But for example, I have an S&P 500 which I invest in. I also have another fund which I invest in called Lindsell Train Equity. So anyone who's listening to this who is really interested in investing, investment vehicles, interested in stocks, research Lindsell Train Equity Fund. I'm not plugging them, by the way. This is not financial advice. I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid to talk about these guys, but I've done a lot of due diligence on both funds. And in terms of where my money goes, I pretty much use a platform called Hargreaves Lansdown, which you probably have heard of. If you haven't, Google them. They take a percentage of a management fee. Look at their fees, do your research. They buy and invest on your behalf. And I know that year on year, with the money that I tax myself, it grows by 10%, it compounds. So that money, for example, I could every month say, you know what, I'll buy a t-shirt. But what I do is I will be quite calculated with what I buy nowadays. I'll buy a t-shirt that's still nice and still fly, but it allows me to still save. And then I'll make sure I have my money covered for my household bills, my family, but then I would tax myself. So where I used to when I was younger, I would buy like £300 t-shirts. Now I would spend maybe £70 to £80 and say that's my budget. Yeah. And then I know that £200, I can invest it because I'm getting older. I'm getting a bit tired as well sometimes, man. I'm not doing so many things, I'm getting tired. I don't know if you feel the same, Kwame. Sometimes I'm feeling tired, man.
Yeah, listen.
I'm thinking I need to have my money working for me. Absolutely. So in terms of like compound interest, the benchmark, as I said, of annual return on the S&P 500 is 10%. So if you imagine you have 5K you start with, even, you know what, people who are starting with, you have £500.
Yeah.
You start with £500. Times are hard. I get it. I've been there, right? Yeah. £500, and you know that in after a year, you're going to get 10% on that. And then you add more money, you add more money, you add more money monthly, and then another 10%. And then maybe 8% the following year. It's beating the bank. You're actually now an investor. And also number 3, you're making a passive income.
Yes.
So I hope you got that. Rewind that and listen to that again, because that's quite important. Then when you get a bit more advanced, you can start investing in single stocks. And that will be another topic, because I've been doing this for a few years now. I buy stocks individually because there's companies I research. I know what I'm looking for when I'm doing my due diligence. And then I'm buying stocks. I'm buying dividend producing stocks. I'm buying stocks that I believe in. At the moment, I'm investing a lot of artificial intelligence stocks and robotic stock. And I'm getting a return on those as well. But to keep this super, super, super simple, I hate overcomplicating things. Do this. Tax yourself every month, 10% of your annual income. If you can't, because you have family, you have 2 children, you have a lot going on, I get it. Just tax yourself. Just tax yourself something, right? Even if it's £50. Put it away and then literally invest it into a S&P 500. And in a year or 2 time, you will say, you know what? That guy made sense, right? So tax yourself and invest in the S&P 500, and you will make compound interest. So those are my 2 tips. It's keeping it really simple for you guys.
Yeah. And great. I think the key thing you're seeing there is discipline. What we've spoken about is delaying immediate gratification. Simple. And I wanted to add, Dom, in I think in like the late 40s or 50s, the S&P 500, buying a share in that was like $15. By the 80s, it was 280. So, I mean, it's something that's always growing. As Dom said, it's the top 500 companies. They're all doing well. Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, Apple, you name it. So, no, that's great. I think we've dropped some gems here. I think we've definitely dropped some gems on them. And I think this is something which, if you actually get into, you cannot fail, but you have to be disciplined. Do not dip into that money, give it time to grow, and then take the payout. Boom. That's it there. So I
Yeah.
think
I'm up right now on Lindsay Train equity. I'm up like 7.26%. So I'm really happy.
dinner's on you, mate.
Yeah. Now I just checked my actual fund. So and I put quite a bit in that. So like it's showing it's showing £777. For those who are listening. Like, that's me being transparent.
What's the name of the platform you use again?
I'm using Hargreaves.
Hargreaves. How'd you spell that?
I hope no one tries to hack into my shit now. But yeah, Hargreaves Lansdowne. So I mean, if you just Google HARGREAVES and then Lansdowne, LANSDOWNE, they've been around for years. But yeah, no, check them out. Invest in a fund. We're going to talk about ISAs as well, and another session like this. We might be in person, it might be split screen, but we will be talking about more about the stock market, more about funds, more about
things
common interest. So, I mean, anyone who's interested in those topics, stay tuned. We've got more coverage, like more jewels. These are mental jewels. They didn't teach me this in school. I had to learn this shit.
Why didn't they do it? Why?
I don't know. I figured out the shit late in life.
That's it.
But I mean, compound interest, compound your money, and compound your life. Like, there's this book called Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Have you read it, Kwame?
I haven't read that one. No.
Oh man,
seriously,
amazing book.
Yeah,
amazing. It's literally it just says small consistent actions, repeated over a period of time.
Right. Yes.
You can create some amazing gains, or it can really negatively impact your life.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's true. And I mean, from the household, so from like things you say to your partner or your friends, if you're complimentary or if you're always negative or you pick fault with something, eventually it's like you start building like I don't really like being around you sort of thing vibe. Or it could turn to, I love being around this person, always upfilling. And then even like small disciplines as just saving £50 a month, saving £100. Like, to me, it's not a lot, but to someone over the year, that's £1,200. That's a holiday.
That's right.
So £100 a month is another holiday. That could be something which makes you feel more energized. It could be something you save, you get used to. It could just be something that you save towards to something you wanted to buy as a treat at the end of the year. It could be a piece of jewelry or something. It could be a treat to your mom. It could be whatever it is, right? It could be going towards charity, right? Deciding Christmas to buy food for the homeless people. But if you do something that you know will make you feel better, like, just do it. And if you can be disciplined, it's amazing because you won't always be motivated. You won't always have motivation. I'm like, why should I save it? I'm not going to go to my grave with this money. I might as well just ball out. Yeah. But then sometimes I'm like, Dom, you've had a rainy day before. Be disciplined, save your money. This month, you made more money than you used to. You're excited, you're gassed up, you're lit. You're feeling like to go and buy a new watch. But you're thinking to yourself, do you really need it? Like, you've got watches. Like, the novelty is going to wear off after about 3 months. You'll be bored. So just save the money. Like, you've got a bigger goal. Yeah. So in terms of whatever you're into and you're interested in, like, be disciplined, be consistent, and it will compound.
That's right. Yeah, simple as that. It's all about the discipline. I think
that's
the key thing. You know, Dom and I, we run businesses, we invest, we go gym, we work out, you know, and I think one key common denominator,
discipline.
There you go. Boom.
And yeah, like, even now, like, probably I've totally off topic again. But I mean, like, even sometimes, as I said earlier, like, if you can't tax yourself 10% of your income, still tax yourself. Like, these books always say, oh, no matter what, tax yourself. Like, it's bullshit. Like, there's times in life where you have a bill that you need to pay for. That's right. Or you get a parking ticket. I've got a parking ticket right here.
I got one myself.
Right here, right? So, like, one right there, right? That bit, that's gonna cost me £110. Yeah. So I can afford it. But let's say it was a time where I was working in Zara, where I used to work. I couldn't tax myself 10% because I need to pay a parking bill. Yeah. And I was making way less than I was making now. Yeah. So you can't always follow these strict rules in these books. But if you can't tax yourself 10%, tax yourself 5%. So say, oh shit, I've got a fucking carb fucking bill to pay, but instead of taxing myself £100, I'm taxing myself £40. Yep. But the discipline, if you decide not to tax yourself, then you're gonna fuck up your routine. So tax yourself.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not going gym right now I'm struggling to go gym. So what I do is this. I make sure I eat less sugar. I make sure I eat less carbs to maintain a certain size that makes me happy. And then if I can't go gym, I'll do a little home workout. I'll do more push-ups. When I'm walking on the underground, I walk up the steps. I don't take any lifts. So I know, like, I'm so disciplined. Like, if I can't do something because I'm challenged, because life gets in the way, right? I still try and maintain discipline. Are you the same, Kwame?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I was going to actually say the gym side. You know, going to the gym is hard. You finish work. Some days, you know, you've had a horrendous day. I mean, if you've got kids, something may have happened with the kids at school. Make it to the gym, and that's the one day. It's a Wednesday, and this was my gym day. So you know what? When you're at home, chuck your legs up on the bed, get a bit
do some push-ups.
Bam, knock out your 20. and you feel good.
And blows and do your thing.
Bringing it. Compound interest.
Shadow boxing, some rocking moves.
I've actually done home training so much. I love it. I'm actually contemplating.
Same.
I'm contemplating.
You know what one do you like? I like Insanity. What do you like?
Insanity is crazy.
That guy, Sean T, he is sick.
And you get a T-shirt when you complete or something, right? Then you get some Insanity. I saw.
Yeah, you get. I think you got one. I don't have one though, but I think.
Yeah, but do you know what? I saw it and I took some ideas from it.
Yeah.
I haven't lived it out.
Yeah, that shit makes you sweat, man.
It looks like that shit will kill you. It looks sick.
Yeah, shit. Listen, that guy's stamina is next level, man.
Yeah. You know, imagine you're doing that Insanity with your money.
Hey. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's it. And that's what we want you guys to understand. Everything that Dom and I are talking to you about, we are also, we are trying to teach it, but we're also students as well. We're applying these things to our lives.
100%.
Real life examples there. You heard Dom talking about Hargreaves and Lansdowne. We're talking about real life experiences, real parking fines, real cars, real businesses. Everything we're talking about is real. But, you know, I mean, listen, leave a comment. Tell other people about it. Stay tuned. We've got amazing content coming. So many more gems to give you. That's it. And you know what? We're not actually even gaining from this. The key thing that we want is to help you become a better version of you. And you know what? Save you the time. Because like Dom said, it took us ages. Compound interest, realistically, is something you want to start when you're 20 years old. Starting with £100 at 20 years old. By the time you're 45, the amount of money you will have will be insane. But that's 25 years of discipline. Right.
Dripping the money.
Exactly. Dripping it. Rather than Salt Bay, you'll be Money Bay, just dripping it. But, you know, if you do start late, it doesn't matter. Apply yourself, compound, not just your money, like Dom said, your life. And you know what? The rewards are just amazing. And we're not just saying this, like we live it. So, hope you've enjoyed. Dom,
hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, all the platforms. You know where we are.
Yeah.
KB and Dom Show, Out Hustle You, Dominic.
Pat.
Yeah. Cool. See ya.